Well, hello, friends. It's Thor Diecow once again talking at you. It's this week on Blu-ray and DVD. We've got 4 titles to get through. We begin with George Clooney, who directs and stars in The Monuments Men, about a ragtag group of American soldiers based on a true story, this one, who attempt to take back stolen art from the Nazis and return it to their rightful owners.
If you destroy an entire generation of people's culture, it's as if they never existed.
We got company.
Frank, we gotta go!
That's what Hitler wants. And it's the one thing we can't allow.
Yeah, so much potential in this movie because of the all-star cast, including Matt Damon, Bob Balaban, Hugh Bonneville, Cate Blanchett, Jean Dujardin, Bill Murray, and John Goodman. The list goes on. Unfortunately, the film is kind of a bore, and it reeks of George Clooney just getting all his buddies together and trying to recreate this World War II story. On paper, yes, the saga is very compelling, but it's just not done in a very entertaining way. I thought the script was very cliched, and almost like the comic moments were a little too forced, so I had high hopes for The Monuments Men. Unfortunately, it struck out for me, but there's a couple of cool featurettes on the Blu-ray, including the real story of the men, about the real Monuments Men, and another interesting feature called Marshalling the Cast, which has the entire cast discussion on the real men and women that brought to life on screen this interesting story. So you might like that for the history buff crowd, but I didn't think it was a very compelling movie, and I expected more from such a great cast. Moving on, 3 Days to Kill. Kevin Costner stars in this Euro thriller, and he's basically got to decide between raising his daughter and fighting one of the world's most deadliest terrorists. This is kind of a quirky one because of its tonal shifts. Get a look.
You're sick, Ethan. But I could offer you an experimental drug that might just give you your life back.
So I buy back my life by killing for you.
That's the job. You have 3 days to kill.
Good Lord, Amber Heard is horrible. Just go away. She has no place in movies. But yeah, I'll tell you how I really feel about her later. This one is good, except for the fact that Kevin Costner is dying, and she's got the magic formula to cure him. But, you know, she'll only give it to him unless he does this job for her. So it seemed kind of like a silly premise. And then on the other hand, he's got to raise his daughter, played by Haley Steinfeld, who I loved in True Grit, and she's a great actress. But the movie goes from like weird parenting sort of drama to like quirky comedy into these spy action thrill scenes, which, to be honest, weren't directed that well. Mick G is the guy behind this one, and the action scenes weren't all that great, although Kevin Costner having a bit of a mini comeback. He's very watchable in this role, so I did like him. He carried it through, does have some good moments. I could say overall it's worth a watch, but again, those tonal shifts were really odd for me. It was like 2 separate movies competing for one in terms of screen time, although it does have some interesting moments. Costner, I do enjoy him. All right, about last night, we're talking comedy now. And this is a reimagining of the classic 80s film starring Rob Lowe and Demi Moore. But yes, leading the charge is Kevin Hart, Michael Ealy, Regina Hall, and Joy Bryant. Get a look at this one. Very funny stuff.
It's ladies' night. I'm down. I'm talking dirty. I am impressing myself.
I made her feel like good and evil hung in a balance.
I can't believe I slept with him on the first date.
Tell me everything.
His eyes, his body, his mouth. He did it.
So, tell me.
Oh, he did, girl. You know it. This is about 2 couples as they journey from the bar to the bedroom, and their relationships are put to the test in the real world. I have to say I had very low expectations, but this movie hooked me right from the get-go. And this is one of the earliest scenes between the 2 couples when they meet up and that kind of thing. They go on like a bit of a double date. A very good screenplay in this film, and Kevin Hart, he's wacky and he's madcap, but he actually works in this role. But really, Kevin Hart and Regina Hall have such great chemistry in this film, and they really carry it. They are a powerhouse duo. I could almost see them in a show together. So really, they are scene stealers. I mean, I like Michael Ealy and Joy Bryant, but these 2 steal the show. About last night, a very funny movie full of great writing, great charismatic performances, and you know what? There's not a lot of action in it or anything like that. A lot of conversations, but you get to grow to love these characters, and that kept me compelled the whole time. So I recommend About Last Night. Really enjoyed this flick. Bit of a hidden gem there this week. And finally, we leave you off. Speaking of gems, we're talking about art. Yeah, that was a bad segue, but I'll keep going. Gambit with Colin Firth and Cameron Diaz. And this is another remake of the 1966 comedy starring Michael Caine and Shirley MacLaine. Unfortunately, they had to go and cast Cameron Diaz in this one. Have a look.
How would you like to make £500,000?
Yep.
The man we're dealing with is not about mixing the professional with the personal. Oh.
Maybe I don't mind being seduced by a multi-zillionaire.
Oh my God, Cameron Diaz. Yeah, she plays a rodeo queen in this one. Not working for me, but it's an interesting story. So Diaz and Firth get together to hatch a scheme to fool their boss, played by Alan Rickman, who's amazing, into believing that an expert forgery is the real deal, and they're going to pocket the hefty sum in the process. It's got some funny moments, some of it inappropriate, as you see here, a little bit too over the top for me, and Cameron Diaz, I thought, was brutally miscast. She continues to disappoint me in these terrible, terrible roles. Cloris Leachman, though, very funny in that scene there. I like Colin Firth, he carries it through, but in my mind, the original with Michael Caine and Shirley MacLaine is much better. So that one you might take a pass on. So I can really recommend, I would say, the best of the bunch this week, About Last Night. But something for everyone. That's it, folks. I'm Thor Dykow. Check me out on Twitter at Thor Dykow. Let me know what you thought of these titles. We'll see you next week on BTVancouver.ca.